Morning, everybody. All right. Well, those of you on social media, I had something personal to take care of. Couldn't be here, but we're back. And market-wise, it was a pretty uneventful day. Just trading inside of that red bar's range. Things aren't very far from where they closed. So clearly markets are waiting, getting into the end of the month, the end of the summer, beginning of the month, holiday coming, and just kind of waiting, holding its breath here, I think. Not certain whether there's going to be another leg down, whether it can hold here up in this area. You see it hit the resistance and the declining 20 and the flat 50 there, like it hit a concrete wall and got knocked back down on that gap up of NVIDIA. And yesterday was just a flip-flop kind of day, better seen over here in a little higher time frame. Narrow range, just back and forth, back and forth. And so maybe at 10 o'clock, that JOLTS report that's coming out could move the markets a bit. I heard this guy on CNBC. I always throw on CNBC or Fox News, and I flip back and forth. And I think he was on CNBC. I don't know who he was. And, they keep getting people on there with different opinions the Fed's going to do nothing, or they're going to whatever, or next year they're going to lower or whatever. And this guy's opinion was that they're going to have to go up to 6% before it stops. I was like, all right, well, if that's true, theoretically, go on, just opinions. On plenty of data. Let's all right. So the connection, definitely something's up because it reset all the charts. Yeah, it's going to come back in a second here. All right, let's see if this will work. So right now, what do we look at here? We got a picture of uncertainty. And whoever's got anything to say, we look at the charts. That's our roadmap. And it's a picture of uncertainty. We got a downtrend on the daily. We've got an uptrend on the weekly. And it's at an inflection point as to whether the daily is going to continue lower or whether, well, we can see it's already stabilized here, or whether the weekly can flip to the upside. Our internals reach this bullish level down here, and we got the bounce. It hit its target. So this doesn't mean much of anything right at the moment. The other intermarket analysis, interest rates, which we talked about over the last couple of weeks, where this started moving up. It was a problem. They continued to move up. It's at a buy point area. Which way are interest rates going to go? And at the time, the 30-year was actually leading the way. And made a new closing high right above that prior high there from last October. Well, that's in an uptrend. This is in an uptrend. It's at a point, it's pulled back where it should go up. It's not moving over the last few days. So what do you want to do? Well, even if you're not trading this, set an alert. I've got this one down here, but now that it's created the support point, I'll bring that alert level up under this low. It looks like a little poke down, little minor downside shakeout here, which it would be. You can see the 15-minute chart, how it poked down and retraced back up again. So buyers are stepping up in an area where you would expect them to do so. But they haven't taken out any resistance. So we're waiting. As we look at others, as the 10-year didn't come down as much, going nowhere. 5-year didn't pull back at all. So, and that's at this resistance area. The momentum stalled, but so which way it'll go, set your alerts. The 13-week, look at this. So this tells me no matter what the consensus is out there, as far as if you go and look at that CME site, what's the probability of a next rate increase or not? This is going up. So the belief, this communicates to us that the belief is that they're going to raise interest rates again at some point. Doesn't say when, but just like way back here a couple of years ago when we were talking about watch this chart, because when this starts moving up, it's going to be a problem for the markets. And it's still, even though it's leveled out, continues to move up. So that leads to what? Well, if this continues to go up and we see the 5 and the 10-year to continue to go up, and the dollar is already broken out, as you can see here on the weekly chart, and this continues to go up, which it's up, not that active here, pre-market, that's going up, which means the euro has to be continuing its downtrend, and the pound, which was holding up better, that broke down. So under this scenario of a strong dollar, interest rates going up, the short-term interest rates going up, the daily in a downtrend, it leads to a view of a buy setup failure. And now for that failure to happen, it's got to trade under those lows. So something's got to give. And yesterday, nothing gave. It was just running in place. So set your alerts, see whatever. And, I suggested in the weekend letter, maybe taking this week off, because as I went through everything, it was just more, I just kind of came to the conclusion that I think it was going to be kind of a low odds thing. And with all that kind of bearish stuff that's potentially lining up, historically, the end of the month and the beginning of the month, which is we're kind of lifting into during the time when we're coming into a holiday, the markets tend to hold up or go up a little bit. So yesterday's price action kind of lined up with all of that idea as to indecision, and we see that happening on the charts. All right. I had closed down TC 2000, but I got to it a little late and the quotes were already closed. But just looking at the chart, and I can't see where the premiums are, but I will in a little while when they reemerge. I would want, if you're going to do a put spread, I'd want it to be down here, and a call spread, well, definitely up above. And this is too close, so I'd want to be well up above that last Thursday high. So somewhere up here or somewhere down here is where you'd want to be looking at to be far enough away. And I don't know how much that number is going to move things at 10 o'clock, but keep that in mind. Other markets. Yeah, this is holding at support. It better move pretty soon. So you can see it's making these bars. So Look, sometimes prices come down as this did, and you get a bottoming tail bar, maybe another bar, and then they rip higher. Kind of what the broader markets did a week ago, right? They came down, you had the exhaustion gap, and they lifted. This didn't. The more time it spends going sideways here, the greater the potential for it to go down. So you want to set an alert on this, or the ETF if you don't have the futures, as a heads up. You see my alert down here below this bottoming tail bar, and maybe just bring it up a little bit, because if it starts coming down into here, see the weekly chart? If this plays out and we see the markets actually go down, for those of you that kind of, you might hear me say, what is he talking about with a measured move? If this triggers, you're going to see what a measured move is. And that may actually happen. If it does, it's going to be a little ugly. Well, if you're long, it's going to be ugly. Qs. Indecision. It came down. It's at support. It bounced from support. It comes up to resistance. It's trading inside this range and just flip-flopping back and forth. Am I going to get hit with the hurricane? Last I looked, DB, it looks like it was hitting the West Coast. We had some pretty nasty rain yesterday. So it looks like Dan and I will avoid a hurricane since we live on the East Coast. But we'll probably get a bunch of rain. Sometimes these things take a different path and come across. That's happened before. And hopefully we'll be okay. Going to just miss us in Sarasota. Okay, Lauren. So they're a pain in the butt for sure. They're scary, and they, your lights go out, maybe you got to evacuate. So hopefully whoever gets affected, it's not too bad. It's one of the unpleasantries about living here, but it's been many years since we've gotten hit with something in us area. Anyway, the last time one came here, my wife and I, we drove inland to Orlando and stayed at a hotel there. It was a nice hotel, but the hurricane went exactly there. But so if we would have stayed, we were still a mess, but you don't know. Sometimes these things are crazy. All right, same story with the futures here, flip-flopping back and forth. And you can see what's happened here this morning. It's just going nowhere. Same thing here. And we don't have any pattern, even that it's retraced to the top of the red bar. What we would want to see is an attempt to go lower. Like, what kind of picture would tell us that it would be somewhat, I was going to say the word safe, but safety is based on how you manage your account, money management, but a higher probability. So if we were to get a bottoming tail bar, say a sell-off where it dipped down here and it came back up, or a big red day down and it flipped back up again, or just simply a retracement and it went back up again, whatever, we'd probably get a bounce into this area here. So right now, market-wise, it's just low odds scenario. So there may be intraday trades, but as far as the daily charts, the weekly charts go, we just got nothing to hang our hat on here. So don't bother. If you're trading intraday, maybe things will set up. If you're trading the minis, but if not, look for individual stocks and see what happens there. Price gas at the pump, the end. Since when I was out yesterday, I threw some gas in the car. Premium was like $4.97. I don't go out that much to drive a car, put gas in it. So it's been a while. Oil, not much of happening there. Maybe it hasn't retraced enough. Gold, just a mess. It's holding up relatively well.
An alert target has been reached.
What that was. Some alert. I'll get to that later. Anyway, not much really going on here. As we look across broader markets, Bitcoin, as you know, got smashed a week ago was just sitting there on support, just trying to hold its breath like the market is to see which way prices might go. And, there's been a lot of damage done, semis holding up. I don't know whether this is a head and shoulders top or it was just a messy rest that it could go higher. No matter where I look, there's indecision. However, looking at airlines, they're down a whole bunch. So a lot of things have gotten clobbered pretty darn good. And so what we want to see going out over the next few weeks is whether it's a stock or an ETF that's been beaten down or like this, do they start showing some relative strength? Because there's tons of monthly charts out there that look bullish. So the idea here is this mess that is going on right now, the latter part of the year, which typically is, end of year rally, Christmas rally, whatever. We're going to have a great opportunity that's coming. So don't get beat up here. All yours, Dan.
Yeah, yesterday was a boring mess, but as always, we find superior daily patterns to trade, even though we have no interest in the broader market. I mean, it makes us less aggressive because we always want the broader market strength or weakness on our side. But yeah, you just mentioned airlines. I looked at them myself, and Delta holding the best here, although if this fails, heading down. UAL, this is one that's weaker, but if it takes out yesterday's high, it's a double bottom. Go to earnings, there's not many of them. BBY. But this was one I was hoping it would keep cascading lower, 70 or lower to give us a climo. Was up, now it's down, doing nothing. Copo on the YouTube asking about ACI, very bullish. It sure is. I like it. I like it. What makes it even better? You had a breakout here. Inside bar. Downside shakeout. Now higher low closing. Breakout again. Yeah, that looks really good at Copo. Thanks. Going on the list. I say that's a great example of broader markets giving us nothing. That's a nice setup right there. As a merger talks with Kroger. All right. Earnings, BBY. I don't know what to do with it now. SJM gapping up, but it's a sell setup. I would be looking, set an alarm. Wow, when I went up to went up to 148 though. All right, so that's probably gap's too big to consider shorting. Do Carnival, that's a whackage. That's a 10% gap down. $20 near support. We'll see what it does in the first 30 minutes. Mabu, I think this is a boat builder. Opening flat, no pattern. If it were to take out yesterday's high, it would be a put spread candidate. Mr. Big, this is a climo. I did a video on Sunday about a bunch of climos I was watching, and this is a climo. Many fluid bars down far from the 20. It's just there was no potent reversal. But now it's gapping up on earnings. We can watch that on a pullback. Earnings, KISS. It was on my gap list. I have it here in this middle chart. That's a good 30-minute high trade. And $5 short put spread. CTLT up a little bit. That's a put spread idea. ELF. This is not earnings, but it was in the news of buying some company. And I've been watching this because of the Climo on the monthly. Joan, it's an over-the-counter stock, 4 decimal points. You know, it is a bullish gap though, but I don't like trading those. Now Neo, I said was a long over yesterday's high, but it had earnings, it's gapping down. So that now opens up the gate to go a lot lower, maybe to the 950 area. HEI 159, that's a nasty gap, no pattern. BMO. All right, so back to my Climo video I did. This is a beautiful Climo. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bar turn. Look at weekly here, major support. That is a quality Climo. If it were opening flat, you know, let's get it down on earnings. What can I do about it? Well, I'll tell you what I can do about it. I already did it. I set an alarm at 83.60. If it can now negate the gap, ideally it'll stay an inside bar today, and then tomorrow he'll trade above these highs. And then that's a directional trade and also put spread. All right, that's it with the earnings. EWG. There was an article in the journal today about Germany being in stagflation, but you know, it's a bullish retest here. If there's any juice, that could be a put spread. There's the ACI. Now just look at others. Yeah, I saw, oh, RCL bottom right here. This is on my short watch list, upside shakeout, big old void. Breakdown on the weekly. See it gapping down here. So this looks fantastic as a new short. So we'll see what it does. I got it in that window. Sherwin-Williams is a short watch. I have an alarm. CXM, kind of a 1, 2, 3. This is on Sam's list. There's UAL, Dow, we mentioned. Oracle got an upgrade. Gap into the top of the range. No interest. Oh, awesome, Scott. Yeah, Scott, go watch that video if you hadn't already that I did on Climos. I put it in the Telegram text. But we'll also email it out as a trade review tomorrow. And I discuss a bunch of Climos. And I tell you exactly what I look for. And the problem with many that I discussed in there, they didn't have a potent reversal. And yeah, so that BMO, like I said, is a beautiful, beautiful one if it were opening flat. All right, PDD. Yeah, this reminds me of our MT Live called The Turn. So this was a pullback, sloppy, but you know, 2 weeks of slopping around with a buy setup on the weekly, that's your turn. But unfortunately, gap's too big, Roger. Well, I don't know what to do with that. Gravy, another big old gap. I don't know what to do with it. Verizon, I saw gapping up. Now this would have been a great long had it over yesterday's high, had it been opening flat. But look, 30.34 is a big old gap for this little stock. So nothing to do now. CCJ, this is one of these uranium things, so that still looks strong. I have an alarm up here. We also entered URA yesterday, the ETF, uranium ETF, similar pattern, gap breakout. I have 3 1, 2, 3s I'm watching here today, Intuit and Workday. And all of these are both on earnings. Nice 180 reversal. That's a beautiful 1, 2, 3. Bullish weekly, monthly powering uptrend. The only thing that would be better is, yeah, that's resistance to the left. And I wish I had more oomph in the broader markets to push it through that. So these are both wonderful put spread candidates. I looked already and there's no juice. SIBO, beautiful 1, 2, 3. After a 180 reversal, it's rising 20, bullish weekly, monthly. That is a picture of beauty as a new trade. So there's another great example. I have zero interest in trading the index ETFs, but as long as they aren't falling, I posted in Telegram that I'm going to be looking to buy call options on this after the 10 a.m. number. We'll just be patient for 30 minutes, see what it does. But that's like my favorite long setup right now. It's beauty. This is Liquor, recent IPO. It's just on my list to watch bottoming KTOS. I'm hoping for an inside day to give me a 1, 2, 3 for tomorrow. Postage, bear 1, 2, 3, 4. I got an alarm at 35.60. Soon is one of these AI stocks. We'll keep an eye on it. See if it wants to break out. Hack. It's sloppy, but it's bullish. Daily, weekly, monthly. So it's on my watch list. ADP broke out. It's bullish. TEL bottoming pattern. I set an alarm somewhere around here, 130.25. NBCR got whacked yesterday. Look at that volume. That is ugly. Neo talked about Papa Hotel. Again, they made the turn at the 50. Bro, just strong, daily, weekly, monthly. TRGP, oil stock. I have an alarm at 85.40. CTOS would have been a great put spread, no juice. W whiskey breakdown. I have an alarm 63.75, I think, but there's a beautiful 10-minute low idea. Let me put that in the other window. All right, BBY is just slopping around doing nothing. So this you can start out with a day trade and decide later about holding. Dish, another Climo. Scott, another Climo, but no turn. I have an alarm at 6:20. AMC, another Climo. No turn. No turn equals no interest. This is this Hawaiian Electric. It's just, going to be very news driven. This is a recent SPAC, Vietnamese electric car company. It's that crazy run, got it valued at $190 billion yesterday. And this is an exhaustion gap from a Climo topping tail. So we had a long discussion in the green room yesterday about shorting the highest calls were 140. And I think they were $1 and change for the 140s, but this is a total poster child of it's getting short-term exhausted. The greed is off the charts of whatever fundamental is driving this thing higher. DAL. Hey, Roger, I did notice they opened up lower strikes now on it. All right, Delta, my alarm just went off.
If you short this, make sure you be aware of the spread between the bid and the ask. It's $1, almost $1 right now.
Yeah, no,
since it's wild.
yeah, I was talking about call spreads, not shorting the stock. All right, so Delta here, I'm doing absolutely nothing at the open, but this is a candidate for a bounce. Let's see if they can take out 5-10 minute high. All right, Macy's, Climo I'm watching, but no turn. CELH is on my bullish list. That ain't bad. See if that can take out 30-minute high. Carvana, we had a put spread and long calls. We took our money yesterday. PGY, I have an alarm near yesterday's high. This would be a breakout after a downside shakeout. TEL alarm, Alex. That's yours. 30